So thanks a lot for the invitation. Greetings, by the way, from Poland. I am here for another project work meeting with the workshop group here, but I'm working in Finland, in Natural Institute Finland, and today I will present for you some results and challenges from the Clear Farm project. So what's the Clear Farm project about? It's about co-designing, developing, and validating a software platform powered by smart farming technologies. So that would mean different kinds of sensors to provide animal welfare information. And in Clear Farm, when we speak about animal, it's dairy cattle or pigs. As well as other environmental and economic sustainability information. In short way, our aim is to provide, to use sensor information, process the information, and provide easy to understand animal welfare data for whole value chain, so for consumers and for farmers. The duration of the project is from 2019 until 2023. Project was founded by the European Union Horizon, and we have, of course, several partners. So we have 5 universities from, among others, Italy, Spain, and Netherlands. We have 1 research institute from Finland, and we have several companies. What's innovative in our project? Well, the whole concept of trying to classify dairy cattle welfare using just the sensor data. And that picture that we have here in the background is actually describing the concept quite well. Conventionally, we are actually performing something like that when assessing animal welfare. So there is a person sent to the herd, and that person will try to check some parameters, put it in the form, and there we have evaluation of animal welfare. But because we have more and more sensors available on the farms, our question is if we can skip this person and use only information from the sensors data. So now I will present you a small part of the project, the study that was done on the dairy cattle. And we tried to test exactly the hypothesis that we can evaluate dairy cattle welfare using only sensors data. How we did that? We selected 6 farms from three countries, from Spain, Finland, and Italy. These were commercial farms. On those farms, we have selected from each herd 50 animals. So we ended up with about 300 cows enrolled for this study. Those farms in these 3 countries were different in many respects, but they were one thing in common. They had sensors, the same types of sensors installed on the farm. First sensor was based on accelerometers, collars, that were evaluating walking, standing, lying, eating, rumination, and other behavior of animals. The second sensor was following the milk production. So it could be milking data from milking robots or some information from parallel. We had sensor data, but we also had to have some idea. So what's actually welfare status of those cows in those herds? So what we did, we referred to existing protocol called welfare quality, and we selected some specific indicators of animal welfare about good feeding, good housing, and good health. We have sent evaluators to those farms, and those evaluators were checking those indicators every 45 days. On top of that, we also gathered the information about medication, weather data. We sum up everything and use the literature to assess the severity and duration of particular welfare issue. So in other words, our welfare index was quite complicated. So I will give you just a few examples how it worked. So if cow in our herd had mastitis and it was confirmed with the diagnosis, that cow received a score 2 for 21 days. If cow was with locomotion problem, it received score 1 or 2, depending on the severity, for 45 days. If we noticed that there was problem with the weather, so the cows were under heat stress, those animals from a given herd were receiving score 1 for a given day when the conditions were not great. So we have ended up with the index which looks like follow. So if cows are in good welfare, they receive 0, so they are close to 0. If they are in bad welfare, the mark will grow up to even 16 points. So now what you can see here, it's the evaluation of welfare from our 6 herds. So those green points here represent cows that actually are in very good welfare. Those yellow points are cows that are in average welfare, and those blue points are cows which are in bad welfare. So our aim in the Clear Farm project was to develop the algorithm which would classify cows according to the welfare status. So tell us that cow is in the green area, yellow area, or blue area. We did it using the machine learning approach, and those slides represent few technical details of this. Maybe I will not get so much into it how we did it. We do as an input to the machine learning algorithm, we include information from sensors, from our labels, as well as we weighted the data based on how far the observer was in the farm and how scarce were the observation of particular welfare status. We also normalized our data, so we use cow ranks instead of raw values. So we did all of that just at in the middle of this year, and we received some results. And the most interested, we were in the situation which is presented here, where we are training our algorithm on 5 herds and testing it on remaining 1, which is not seen for the algorithm earlier. But our prediction accuracy was quite low, so it's about 56%, so it's poor. However, we tested our algorithm on the other situation where we include the data on all our herds from the study. We were able to improve accuracy of the results to performance. We can say it's okay. And finally, we tested the algorithm on just 1 herd. So we used 70% of the data from training, 30 for testing, and the classification performance was already good. So what we can learn from that example is that there is no one solution fits it all for classifying animal welfare. And the constructed models regarding classification of animal welfare should be validated on further herds if we want to develop something that is general and working everywhere. What kind of challenges we have? Definitely cooperation with commercial farms, because we installed and we went to the commercial farms, so that was not easy. And we've been doing it in 3 countries, so that of course brings extra complications. We have some difficulties with accessing the sensors data, not from the sensors from companies that are in our project, but from those that were not involved. But this is quite common in the project involving sensor data. Of course, the quite tricky part was data aggregation. Again, because we are dealing with the data set originating with the different countries. But for me personally, the most difficult part was actually defining welfare index in the project, because welfare is very, very hot topic, and very many people have their opinion how it should be defined, but there is no one definition. However, in the project, our approach was that this is just a proof of concept, and we will just see if, based on our defined welfare index, we can classify those cows and see where we can go from there further. So looking back to the future, what we would do differently next time, When selecting farms for the project, we would definitely select farms who have already deployed sensors, because that was a tricky part and we spent quite a lot of time on doing this. And we should definitely spend more time to prepare for protocols for data collection. Well, if the project is already so advanced, we cannot change it now, but we noticed that we could improve in that respect. Perspective for the future, well, we still have data from this year that were collected in the same manner, so we hope to validate our algorithm further. We also have been collecting hair samples from our herds, so we hope to validate our welfare index and check if the animals which we assess they are in bad welfare, they are also in the bad welfare concern. There are also indication of bad welfare in the samples, biological samples collected from those animals. So that was a very, very short overview what we are actually doing in the project of Clear Farm. And yeah, in terms of questions, I'm available later on in the session to explain more. Thank you.